Are you looking for inspiration on a daily basis? Then check out Deal to Heal Teas. With our inspirational teas, you're sure to find something to inspire you. That's dealtohealteas.com. Put some inspiration in your situation. We're inspirational tea and be inspired all day. Let's go to dealtohealteas.com. Again, that's dealtohealteas.com. Hey guys, if you're enjoying this podcast, then I know you'll enjoy the Girl Dad Discussion podcast. I'm your host, Ernest James, and I believe the relationship between a daughter and her father is one of the most important relationships a young lady can have. And therefore, my mission is to promote the daddy-daughter relationship by sharing the voices of girl dads to the world. So check out our podcast on every platform where podcasts can be listened to. And if you want to watch the podcast, check us out on our YouTube channel. Again, that's the Girl Dad Discussions podcast with your host, Ernest James. Hey guys, this is Ernest James, host of the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast. And I got a question to ask you. Could you buy me a cheeseburger? Better yet, could you buy me a value meal? Yes? Well, guess what? I don't need a value meal. However, for the cost of a value meal, you can support this podcast to keep us on the air. Just go to Patreon/Deal to Heal podcast and choose any one of the 3 tiers that's available. And if you just want to make a one-time donation, go to Cash App and make a donation to $EJames, the number 418. Make a one-time donation to the Cash App, or again, go to Patreon to support this podcast and keep us on the air. Thanks in advance. Be blessed. Welcome to Deal to Heal with E. James podcast. On this podcast, my guest and I will discuss topics and ways to help us to heal in every area of our lives. I believe that everyone can live a life that is happy, healthy, and whole. So I'm on a mission to help people to deal, heal, and fulfill. Deal with your problem, heal from the pain, and fulfill your purpose. Thanks for tuning in. Let's get to it. Hey, welcome to the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast. I'm your host, Ernest James, and I believe that everyone can and should live a life that is whole, healed, and healthy. And therefore, I'm on a mission to help people to deal, heal, and fulfill, to deal with your problems, to heal from the pain, and to fulfill your purpose. Thank you guys once again for tuning in to the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast. If you haven't already, make sure that you listen. First of all, make sure that you subscribe to our new YouTube channel. It is the Deal to Heal Podcasting Network. Formerly was the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast, but now it's the Deal to Heal Podcasting Network because we have more podcasts on there besides the Deal to Heal podcast. So make sure you guys go check us out, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and subscribe to our podcast on all of your social media listening, all of your podcast listening platforms. Also, make sure you guys check out our partner podcast, the Girl Dad Discussions podcast with E. James, on our same YouTube channel, and also with your podcast listening, other podcast listening platforms. And I'm gonna tell you guys how you can win $100 from the podcast, but you have to stay until the end of the episode in order to get that. Information. So make sure that you guys hold on to that. Next thing that we have for you guys is our product of the week. As you guys know, we are a self-sustained podcast, and the way that we stay on the air is by bringing you amazing products for you to purchase that we may keep paying the bills, right? So our product of the week is our new podcast merch that we have, and so I have our podcast t-shirt. If you guys can see it, it's a blue t-shirt that matches our logo that says the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast, the logo to it. Hopefully that you guys can see it, those that you are watching on Facebook. But make sure you go to deal2healtees.com. That's deal, the number two, healtees.com in order to get your podcast t-shirt of the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast. So thank you guys very much for that. So we're going to jump right in it today, just like any other day. We are blessed with the guest, Mr. Thurman. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I am good. I am good. First of all, let me say thank you for being on because you could have been doing anything else with anyone else, but you're here with me tonight and my listeners, and we definitely appreciate it. So, do me a favor, introduce yourself to my listeners and let us know who you are and a little bit about what you do.
First and foremost, I want to say thanks for having me on, man. I mean, I'm honored. I never take any opportunities lightly, to spread positiveness in this world, to spread the word, to, deal hope and so forth and so on. My name is Dudley Thurman, also known as Dr. Bounce Back. I am a motivational speaker. I'm a coach. I'm a mentor, amongst so many other things, But I'm a firm believer that the title isn't who makes you, it's what you do. It's what you do within that title that makes who you are, you know. And that's where I like to delve in at.
All right, all right. So, Mr. Thurman, I'm gonna call you Mr. Thurman. Hope you don't mind.
No,
I want to go back, right? Because I like to start kind of from the beginning because I know that everyone that's in this field of inspiration, of motivation, of trying to make a difference in the lives of other people, even our children, our youth, we all started somewhere. And generally, we didn't start where we are now, right? We started at a point and then there was some kind of um, event or experience that happened that changed us to the point that we was like, all right, I want to do something else. I want to do something that's going to make a difference in the lives of other people, not just myself. So tell us a little bit about who you were before your initial experience, and then what was that experience that kind of changed your heart, changed your mind to be like, you know what, now I want to spend my life making a difference with other people.
awesome, man. Awesome question. See, I believe that what people yet to understand or believe sometimes is that we don't just have an experience, we have a series of experiences throughout our whole life. And those series of experiences, if we pay attention and have the right perspective, they're actually preparing us for something that we are called to do or will potentially do one day. So, my experience is really experiences that started from birth, born into
Mhm.
poverty. I was born into poverty in Hamilton, Ohio. I was born with some hearing issues. I was hearing impaired. Um, my mom had a surgery done on my ears to correct a hearing issue at the age of 5, but I had developed a speech impediment. And I failed to mention that I was brought home from the hospital to a project apartment in the projects of Hamilton, Ohio. So odds was already stacked against me. My mom was running the streets a little bit when I was that age. She got it together fast. But me, my two brothers, and my sister kind of had to fend for ourselves during that time that I was dealing with the speech impediment, living in the project, so forth and so on. Developed a speech impediment, had the surgery to correct the hearing issue, and that's when my mom decided that she wanted to take me, my two brothers, and my sister out of Hamilton, Ohio, to move to Denver, Colorado. We all left with one change of clothes. My mom had $20 left over in her pocket after buying us all a one-way bus ticket, and we hopped on a Greyhound bus and traveled 2 days to Aurora, Colorado to live with my aunt, 10 people in a one-bedroom apartment. So I'm telling you these things to uh, to allow your audience and even you to understand that the challenges started early in my life, but it was going to be up to me to develop a positive perspective on the things that seemed negative in my life. I was building resilience. God was preparing me for what I was going to do one day, even through the hearing issue. Because as we got to Colorado, my mom put me in speech classes so I could learn how to pronounce words and get my enunciation right. But not only did she put me in speech classes, she also put me in a program called Odyssey of the Mind, where I had to orate and speaking competitions at 8, 9 years old. against the smart kids at other schools and other school districts and counties and all these things. And I don't even think my mom realized what she was doing at the time. But she was preparing me for what I was going to do one day. So I was having experiences early in life that weren't even acknowledged in a way of we're preparing this kid, to impact and use his voice one day. It wasn't even thought of. But those are some of the experiences that I was having early in life. I'll give the floor back to you and allow you to either elaborate, ask me a question, or I can go further in this story to
Right.
uh to becoming who I am right now today.
Yeah, I definitely want to go a little bit more into it. But even before that, I want to first of all just give kudos to your mom. For even having the wherewithal to be like, you know what, let me get my family out of this situation into a better place. And I definitely understand, even like you said, moving in with your aunt, 10 people in one room. I don't think I've even shared too much of this part of my story on the podcast of when we were living, my family and I have 8 siblings, 9 of us all together as far as kids, and my mom and dad. And we were living a middle class lifestyle. You know what I mean? We had the house with the picket fence and the 2-car garage, the whole 9 yards. And then my dad ended up losing his job, and through other events, we lost everything. And so you got a husband and wife and 9 kids that went from moving in their own house, their own space, like I said, the picket fence and the dog, to all of us moving into one room in my
Wow.
grandmother's house, right? And so I definitely understand that dynamic of starting from the bottom. Now we're here for real. You know what I
Right.
mean? It's like
Right.
we all here because we all in one space together. But I definitely want
For
to give
real.
your mom props for even coming out of, having the mind to get you guys out of that space. And then, like you said, also I often talk about, when I speak on different, even going to different schools, one of the things I talk about is what is your purpose? And one of the points that I always make is that your purpose leaves clues. And so, like you said, even early in your life, your mom was already pouring into your purpose without even knowing, without her knowing, even without you knowing, but putting those things in space, in places, in those experiences to be like, all right, let me put them in some kind of speech class, not knowing that those words that you were learning then and that skill that you was learning then will show up as an adult in the stuff that you do now. So I love that point because I always say, your purpose leaves clues, and if you look back, you can see where you're going forward. So but I do want to talk a little bit about that, your story, because even with you being the one that's really experiencing these different things, and definitely growing up, in the urban community, amongst our own, we know that we like to tease each other. You know what I'm saying? We like to tease and bully each other. So I can imagine you having hearing and speech problems that definitely got teased,
A
but
lot.
being able to have the mindset to kind of overcome those things and still be successful. How was that mindset? How did your mindset play a part then, and even how does it play a part now?
Well, I mean, I live by by the motto of mindset over everything. Um, Mindset plays a major role in success. Period. In accomplishing anything. So many out there in the world, they have focused on skill sets alone, not realizing that the mindset piece is the piece that's going to, actually allow them to get there, where they want to be. See, growing up, I believe that I was developing skill sets in certain areas, but I wasn't necessarily developing my mindset. However, it was my mindset that allowed me to overcome those challenges even early in life and keep it pushing. But as I said, experiences provide opportunities for you to strengthen your mindset, for you to strengthen your resilience. But it's all through perspective. I believe in finding good in what seems to be bad. And if we go a little further in my story, you'll learn more about some of the key elements that help kind of prime prime my mindset and get me going on the pathway of success. Um, but it happened. It truly happened. It made sense further down. These were just the first stepping stones for me to develop the mindset that I have today.
Yeah.
I can't say I was always extremely driven. It was my experiences that helped me become more driven and more resilient. And to be able to think proficiently, so forth and so on. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. It does. Clearly, it does. And I want to talk a little bit about some of those things that you mentioned about some of those things that help you to get through that, because you mentioned the word resilience, right? And I know that definitely resiliency plays a huge part when overcoming any kind of challenges. And like you said, you had your mindset to begin to change that helped you to overcome, but then also you had some little things, little skill sets that you learned along the way that helped you out, in order to help you become even more resilient to overcome some of your challenges. So let's talk about a little bit about some of those skill sets and some of those things that played a part into helping you to become able to overcome.
Gotcha. Yes, sir. So, would you like me to go into any specifics on those key elements of my mindset, I guess, or
Well, I leave it up to you. It's your story. So whatever.
okay.
So whatever you feel would be more impactful for myself, but also for the audience that's listening, who also may be facing some challenges that they need to overcome. Some of those same skill sets that you learned may be able to help them to get through whatever they're going through. So whatever you feel that's the
Okay.
most powerful, I leave that to you.
So what I'm gonna do is delve into my story a little bit more and use that as kind of the caveat and vehicle to get us to some principles and maybe a set of tools that I can leave with your audience that may be beneficial in the realm of strengthening their mindset. Um, I kept going through life at that young age trying to find myself. Growing up without a father, I'd never had a father. It was only my mom. And my mom had me and my brothers involved with sports and football at a young age. And I developed a high skill set for football. But the lack of a success based mindset, a mindset to play the game of life, it kept me from landing the opportunities that I could have landed through sports and football. Everybody projected I was going straight to a Division I college and straight to the NFL based off my skill set. But my mindset, my underdeveloped mindset to play the game of life is what kept me from getting there. So yeah, mindset has a lot to do with how bad you want to accomplish something, your willpower, what you're willing to do to get it, but it also has a lot to do with, I feel like, your thinking capacity, your common sense. And truthfully, I could get on a football field and go hard and lead my team in tackles and do all these great things, but off of the field, I wasn't functioning like someone that wanted to go to the next level. So when it comes to mindset, people think that it's all about drive and will, and mindset delves into more than that. It delves into having a why, for why you want to get to where you say you want to get to, and what you're willing to do to get there. So even though I could push myself through workouts, I could push myself through practices and football games, I could push myself to the limit, but off of the field, I just wasn't making the choices and decisions that were conducive to where I want to go. So I just want to clarify that mindset piece when I say mindset, because, you know, sometimes people get it misconstrued, it's a mindset for life, and accomplishing to where you, accomplishing the things that you want to accomplish to get to where you want to go. Out of high school, I didn't have the Division I opportunities. Okay, I had a few, but I shown them away because they wasn't D1 opportunities, and I wasn't even educationally ready to go to a Division I college.
Mhm.
A year out of high school, I got blessed with an opportunity to go to Garden City Junior College. I was going to go to Kansas State from there. I totally blew that whole year. Went home for the summer, started hustling, doing things I shouldn't have been doing. Didn't go back for the fall season. But about a year after that, I got blessed with another opportunity. Division II school at the time. They were going to give me all my years of eligibility. I was going to go play for them, but only under one condition, and that was that I go to summer school, get a B average, and I'm prepared and in shape for the fall season. Went to summer school the whole summer. Got my grades on that last day of summer school. My grades revealed that we were on point. I was going to be going in 3 days to football camp. But I went to a party that night on the day that I finished summer school, and I got stabbed with a 3 foot long sword that went completely through my back, this close to my spine. Went in the front, went in the back, and came out of the front. And I literally almost died on the day that I finished summer school. And I was pushed around in a wheelchair for weeks, lost 70 pounds, and that was my first true experience of having to exercise my resilience and strengthen my mindset. Other than being born hearing impaired and correcting speech impediment, but now I was fighting for my life physically, and even mentally, to get myself back up on my feet and learn how to walk again and build that same strength again. It was a mental process before it was even a physical process, and I went back out to the streets, going that same direction, living that same life. Didn't go to college, and probably about 7 years after that, I found myself in front of a judge about to read a verdict back on my life, and the verdict came back guilty, and I was looking at 17 years in jail, and I was taken into custody immediately, stripped from my kids, my family, and society, and that's when the light switch really went off. That's when it went off. That's when I started thinking about all the experiences that I had had my whole life. That's when I started thinking about all the ups and downs, the ins and outs, times I was thrown into leadership opportunities, how I used to lead my football team, the time when I had to speak in the Odyssey of the Mind. I started thinking about when I was 15 years old, Youth Sunday at church, and they had me do the announcements, and the pastor came down and was just blown away and said, "Man, how did you do that? Are you going to be speaking or preaching or something one day?" I wasn't hearing that because I was trying to live the street life, And so I started thinking about all those things, and then I started asking myself these questions. I remember they put me in a cold cell for about 10 hours that day after trial before I got transported to where they were going to have me at, where I was going to wait for sentencing for 2-3 months. And I just started asking myself questions. Man, Dudley, if you could impact the world positively in any way, what would it be? What would it be? If you could make a positive impact, if you could change the trajectory of some things that are going on in the world, what type of work would that be? What would that look like? If you could get out of here right now today, even though you're looking at 17 years, what would you get out of here and do? What kind of vision would you craft for yourself? And I feel like that's when my life started coming alive, and I realized that I was going to have to do some things in order to not only get out of there, but live a fruitful, productive life after whatever was going to happen. And what happened was I sat in the county for 3 months waiting on sentencing, praying, delving into myself. I mean, reading in the Word, fasting, doing all these things, man. Praying over people, stuff I hadn't even done on the streets. Like, I had shifted my way of thinking. And when I went to sentencing, I thought I was going to get 17 years. DA recommended 10 years. The judge gave me 7 years, right? And she sent me to a facility, Benton County Correctional Facility. All right. Only facility that had this specific program in the state of Colorado. We didn't know it had the program. I didn't know it had the program. I just knew I was being sent somewhere. And after 2 weeks of being there, these guys were coming at me about being a part of this program called Choices. Choices was a program where they brought in youth educators and parents into the facility, and these 8 inmates put on an 8-hour presentation. They were spending government dollars on helping these guys hone their public speaking skills, teaching them life coaching skills, and they were putting on a full presentation with video props, audio on the stage, one-on-one sessions afterwards. It was crazy. And in Colorado, there's prisons all over Colorado, in the mountains, Arkansas Valley. I happened to go to this place where the only program was like this in the state of Colorado. I happened to go there. These guys happened to be coming at me about being a part of the program. They ain't know nothing about me. They were coming at me about being a part of the program, and I couldn't figure out why, but the program aligned with what I had to do after I was hearing impaired. It delved into what I did on Youth Sunday. It delved into all the leadership talks that I gave my football team. When I had to go to summer school that summer, I had my first public speaking class, and I got a standing ovation with every speech given. Why did I land at a facility that had this program? Why were these guys coming at me about being a part of this program? It was because a calling and a purpose was on my life my whole life, and I had been running from it, and I was put into a predicament at that point in time in my life to either submit or perish. And that's when I really began to strengthen my mindset. And that's when I want to dive into the principles, the
Mhm.
principles that I live by when it comes to mindset. And it's 4 A's. I call it the A plus mindset. And the first A is alignment. Okay. And when we talk about alignment, we're talking about becoming aligned with who you truly are. We becoming aligned spiritually, becoming aligned with your gifts, with your purpose, with your call, whatever it is, because we all was put on earth to do something. We all got a gift and we all got a purpose. And our gift and our purpose is two totally different things. But you have to identify what your gift is to sometimes operate within your purpose. So you operate within your purpose proficiently with excellence. And that's what I was doing. So I began to become aligned in that moment. When I first got in there and had to sit for 3 months, I was working on my alignment without even knowing it. And as soon as I got aligned, the big opportunity came. And so when you're working on manifesting something into your life and you praying about it, alignment is going to be the first piece. Because I failed to tell you that I wrote down what I wanted to see happen with my situation. I want to be delivered. I wanted to be delivered. I wrote this probably 100 times a day. I meditated on it the majority of the day, and I prayed on it several times and fasted while I was in there. So I was building this manifestation that I wanted to see happen through God. But I had to become aligned to even connect with it. And so I accepted their invite to the program, and in a matter of weeks, I became one of the program's top speakers. And in 120 days, the judge brought me back to court and suspended my whole sentence, and suspended everything. Said, "Young man, you got work to do. I need you out there." And that was 14 years ago. I've been doing this work ever since, and but I had to become aligned. The second piece is is your approach. Your approach. What is your game plan? What is going to be your game plan to get you to where you want to go? And so not only was I becoming aligned when I was in there, I was also creating a game plan of what I wanted to accomplish, of where I want to go. I knew I wanted to work with people. I knew I wanted to help people. I knew I wanted to do something with people. And so through me learning that, I kind of created a little game plan. The doors opened up, and that's when I really got to planning. And I've been able to walk in that purpose and speak at hundreds of schools and universities, work with organizations, corporations. Um, I'm at an organization right now where I told you I'm going to go down and have a youth vibe night with a bunch of youth they're bringing in. I'm actually building out a gang violence prevention and intervention piece for this program. This is my third day here working with them, building out their program piece. So those are the type of things that I do, but it took these other pieces of my life to become aligned and creating solid game plans. So I know how to approach, life to get there. So we got attitude. Oh, attitude. Okay. Attitude is one of the A's. And so attitude actually comes before alignment. All right, let me go back. I got ahead of myself. Attitude comes before alignment because in the attitude piece is where you have to develop the right perception. That's where you have to find good in a bad situation.
Mhm.
Attitude delves into your attitude towards life, your attitude towards challenges. Do you see them as stepping stones and opportunities, or do you see them as the all in all? My life is over because I just got hit with a roadblock. I just got hit with a hurdle. Something just happened. An obstacle just showed itself in my life. And am I going to shut down, or am I going to figure out how to navigate around it and use it as an opportunity to learn something new about myself? A great poet by the name of Langston Hughes once said that life for me ain't been no crystal stair. He said it's been full of tacks, splinters, and torn pieces all the way. What Langston Hughes was saying was that life bears setbacks. Life bears challenges. But it's not about how you let that challenge impact you and knock you down. It's about what you do with that challenge, what you're going to learn from it. How are you going to strengthen your resilience? Everybody's life is going to have obstacles. Everybody's going to go through things. But those ones who perceive those challenges as positive and find learning experiences, those are the ones that are able to turn their setbacks into comebacks because they have the right mindset. Okay? So you got attitude, alignment, you got approach, your game plan, and then you got accountability. So after I got out of that facility and that judge told me you got work to do, I was going to have to stand on my own accountability. I was going to have to keep myself flying right. I was going to have to create environments, circles, and opportunities that are conducive with accountability. So it'd be an accountability partner, an accountability group, start going to higher places where higher people are there that can teach me things and hold me accountable. Was I going to seek mentorship and or coaching? Like, I've done all these things over the last 14 years. And so I created that accountability piece for myself, starting with me. And through attitude, alignment, approach, and accountability, I developed what I like to call the A+ mindset. And that's a mindset that's driven towards success. And that's me. And that's what I live by.
Man. So I'm listening to your story, and definitely, like we talked about earlier, your purpose definitely was in alignment, right? Your purpose definitely was laid out before you, and like I said, when you start looking back on the clues that your purpose leads, it also leaves clues behind you, but it also leaves clues in front of you. And I think that you're definitely walking in your gift. It definitely has played out, like you said, in the way that you move, and even in the work that you're doing now. And congratulations on even
Thank you.
still pushing after 14 years
Thank
and
you.
still pushing, because a lot of people don't always get it. You know what I mean? And like you said earlier, it's not just mindset, as far as mindset in the will and the will to do something, but it goes back to that intelligence piece too. When you said common sense, and one of the things I learned is that common sense ain't always common. You know, so
Not common.
your common sense, if you had it, would tell you a lot of things, and not to get involved with a lot of things, not to
Right.
get, not to be in a lot of spaces, and to take advantage of the opportunities that you have. But sometimes your common sense don't kick in until you have some of those experiences, probably like you had, that say, okay, now, I have to look at my life. And I oftentimes say also that sometimes when we won't sit down, God sits us down.
It
To
happened to
make
me.
to He sits us down to make you listen and look at your life, to evaluate the things that He has in line for you,
100%.
the purpose that He has for your life. Because if you're out there, shaking and moving in them streets, you ain't sitting down long enough to look at what His plan for you, because you're too busy working out your plan. But sometimes He have to sit us down and be like, you know what, sit down. You know what I'm saying? And once He sit us down, then say, now look at my plan. And my plan is always better than your plan. And so I congratulate you, man, for even stepping into His plan. And even now, I know right now you're at an event right now, even with the kids. You know what I'm saying? So you still doing the work, man. I definitely
So,
appreciate it. Deli, I want you to do me a favor, man, before we get out of here, because I don't want to hold you away from the kids too long. I want you to have the last word, right? I want you to have the last word. I want you to leave my listeners with a word of advice or motivation, however you feel, and also leave us with your social media handles and things like that, where we can find you and follow you, so that we can keep tabs on your mission and your progress. So while you're thinking about that, I'll give you a couple seconds to think about that. To my listeners, man, I told you guys, thank you guys once again for tuning in to the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast. Make sure you guys are checking us out on our websites, right? We got dealhealfulfill.org, which is our main website, my main website, which tells about what I'm doing in the organization as a whole, with the podcasting, workshops, everything that we have going on. You can find more information about it at dealhealfulfill.org. Also, you can find there a way to contact me to come out as a speaker at your school, organization, or event. Uh, Also, make sure you guys are checking out Deal to Heal Tees. That's Deal, the number two, healtees.com, which is our inspirational t-shirt line. Put some inspiration in your situation. Wear inspirational tee and be inspired all day. That is our tagline. Also, when you go there, you can get your podcast merch, which is our podcast t-shirt for the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast. And last but not least, if you go to ebooks by ejames.com, that's ebooks by ejames.com. You can check out our ebooks that we have available. We have Forgiving Me, which is one about self-forgiveness, which I think is very important to help us with our mindset and even be able to forgive ourselves for some of the mistakes that we had in the past, as well as some other ebooks. So make sure you guys go there to ebooks by ejames.com in order to check those out. Also, over the last year or so, I've been blessed to be a part of an organization called the Forgiveness Mission. And one of the things that we do, we have free virtual workshops every quarter of the year talking about forgiveness, what it is, what is not, forgiveness of self, forgiveness of others, everything surrounding forgiveness. Make sure you guys go to forgivenessmission.com, or you can go to Eventbrite and look up the forgiveness workshop in order to take part of these free virtual workshops, which is every quarter of the year. So whenever you're listening to this, either one just ended or there's one coming up. So make sure you guys go to forgivenessmission.com in order to check that out. Last but not least, I told you guys that I would tell you how you could win $100 from the podcast. And you can win $100 from the podcast by subscribing to our super subscriber contest. What does that mean? That means you must subscribe to our YouTube channel, to our Facebook page, and to our podcast on Spotify. Then text the word WIN, WIN, to the number 866-326-0730. You qualify to win $100. The contest is ongoing and is random. So once you're in, you can always win. Just text the word WIN, WIN, to the number 866-326-0730 to qualify to win $100. All right. So again, thank you guys once again for tuning in to the podcast. Mr. Dudley Thurman, I definitely appreciate having you on. Thank you for sharing your story and your expertise. I want you to have the last word, so the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. So you guys can visit my website at www.dudleythurman.com. I'm on every social media outlet. Instagram, Dr. Bounceback. Facebook, Dudley Thurman or Dudley Thurman, Dr. Bounceback. TikTok, Dr. Bounceback TV. YouTube, Dr. Bounceback TV. And if you simply want to Google me, you can Google Dudley Thurman or Dr. Bounceback. Understand that I got a program out there that's based around building value, building a valuable personal brand. I've been teaching soft skills heavily for the last 7 years and practicing them for the last 14 years. I visit schools, organizations, so forth and so on to speak. If anyone is interested in having me as a speaker, tap into the website, fill out the form, and we can connect there. But before I go, there's something that I want to share with you. If you can begin to dig deep to get to know who you are, then you'll understand why you are who you are. And if you can understand why you are who you are, then you'll understand why you are who they say you are. A winner, a fighter, a champion. I'm still here, you're still here, so we're blessed with the opportunity to chase our dreams and have no fear. Tenacious tenacity, proven tough times never last. Motivation and ambition should all be your gas. Those struggles, those challenges, they don't come to stay, they come to pass. And once that day comes to pass, you'll realize that your past is your gas. It's your boy, Dr. Bounceback, coming to you once again live and direct with another motivational message to keep you all in check. Peace.
All right. We can't end it no better than that. To my listeners, thank you guys once again for tuning in to the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast, where our mission is to help people to deal, to heal, and to fulfill. So until next time, you guys be blessed. Hey guys, I know you're enjoying the podcast. However, don't forget to join our text line at 866-326-0730. That's 866-326-0730 in order to receive text messages with new events and things that is going on and new episodes as they release. All right, see you in a minute. Thanks for listening to the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast. Remember to listen, like, subscribe, and share. This episode has been brought to you by Deal to Heal Teas. Put some inspiration in your situation. Wear an inspirational tea and be inspired all day. Let's go to dealtohealteas.myshopify.com. Remember, our mission is to help you to deal, heal, and fulfill. Deal with your problem, heal from the pain, and fulfill your purpose. Thanks for listening.